Summer League Game 4 for the Pacers in the books, and lots of misses from both teams. Ugly game, very Summer League-y. Pacers get it close late. They don't get it done. What we learned, what we not learned, and what did we learn talking to James Wiseman and Obi Toppin about their free agencies in Vegas? Guess what? We'll talk about it all today on the Locked On Pacers podcast.
You are Locked On Pacers, your daily Indiana Pacers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What up, y'all? Happy Friday. Congrats, you made it through the week, and welcome into another edition of the Locked On Pacers podcast, where we, of course, talk about the Indiana Pacers. As always, my name's Tony East. I cover the team for Forbes and SI, and today, diving into Pacers Summer League Game 4, they played the Nuggets, and they played pretty bad. What went wrong? What went right? Who did and did not do well of the important players? Because lots of guys suited up. Everybody on the Summer League roster has now played because the Gennaro Pargo went deep bench for this one. Still a lot of Jarace, still a lot of Furphy. But we'll talk about everybody, again, of note who played. Wrap up on Ben Shepherd, even though we did a little bit earlier. And then because it was less of note in this game, we will talk about two conversations I had while in Vegas, one with Obi Toppin and one with James Wiseman. We got into more details on their free agency, why they chose to stick with the Pacers, because this was not 30 minutes worth of Summer League discussion today. Pacers lose to the Nuggets. Ugly game. 86-71 for the Pacers, the final score. The Pacers had 26 points at halftime. They scored 26 points in the third quarter. Let me throw you some stats before we talk about everybody. The Pacers stunk early and were missing everything. One of their first 11 shots. After 4 minutes of game, it was 3-2 in favor of Denver. The Pacers started 3 of 17 from the field. No one looks good when that happens. There's no good passing. There's no good flow. There's no good rim pressure. Jarace Walker brought that up during the game in an interview that they weren't getting to the rim. And then there was some improved play from Walker and Furphy and Tristen Newton, but it came way too late. In general, the Pacers started 5 for 32. You know how hard it is to even be close in a game like that? In fact, they were only down 5 into the first quarter, and if you erase the second quarter, they were within 4 the whole game. But the second quarter was so dreadful, their whole first half was that they lost. And so keep that in mind as you think about the context of this game, is that they weren't playing well the way they want to play in terms of getting to the rim, and on the possessions that weren't the way they want to play, they had no successes. Like in past games, at least they hit some threes or got some junk buckets. In this game, they were 9 for 35. That's 25.7% from three, and that's actually better than Denver was, but Denver dominated in the foul line, inside the arc. Denver won the turnover battle. Everything else went their way. So keep that in mind as we talk about this. And that actually makes one particular stat to me more impressive. The Pacers made 23 shots in this game. 18 of them were assisted. 1/3 of their assists total were from Jarace Walker, who was not like awesome in this game, but I thought was their best player. And 4 for 15 is not very good, right? His shooting, like everybody's, was poor. 2 for 5 from deep is good. 2 for 10 inside the arc is not very good. But he finished with 13, 11, and 6 in a game like that. He still stood out in terms of trying to be the guy and being forced to be the guy that actually set stuff up and created it, right? And he's still turning it over a lot in these Summer League games because he has the ball so much. But 4, I think, with how much he's handling it, 33 out of the 40 minutes played he was out there, is an acceptable number. Not, again, Jarace will not be happy going 4 for 15 with 4 turnovers, but I thought he was the Pacers' best player in this game. He had a great find to Enrique Freeman early in the game, and then he started settling for some jumpers. As soon as I typed that in my notes, literally, I typed Walker settling in my notes. Next possession, super strong take right at a defender, scooping right-hand finish bucket. Like, the physicality when it's there has looked good. It just hasn't been frequent enough, I think, even to him, most likely, in this game. But he had some nice passes into the middle of the paint that led to finishes in this game. Early in the 30-yard, he had 5 assists. I think at the time the Pacers had like 11 made shots. You know, he was really doing well. And what actually stood out to me in this game is he, you know, was trying to lead the Pacers offense as well as he possibly could, is he would really beat himself up when he would miss a pass, or like when he had a chance to make a play and it didn't work out. And, you know, I don't want to say he's being too critical of himself, but, you know, it's almost like and just move on to the next play. Like I get why he's so frustrated, and you can tell that what the stuff is that he's really laser focused on. It's the stuff he gets frustrated after it. Either he messes it up or someone else messes it up after he does it right. And that was a lot of times passing, quick transitions from thing to thing or finishing. But overall, Walker was fine out. I mean, look, fine outside of 11 missed shots. Sounds dumb to say. He missed 11 shots, but in general, an okay game. Ben Shepherd's done for Summer League. I have nothing to add on him, except I wrote a story about him being done for Summer League. And Chad Buchanan said during the Timberwolves broadcast that Ben Shepherd does not really have a game and a skill set for Summer League. And then it kind of adds to the theories that we've all had about Ben Shepherd so far. Kendall Brown, awesome first game. Not so good second game. Tale of two halves last game. Probably below average is what I would categorize this game as. He had a corner three in the first half that stood out a lot because the Pacers didn't score for like 4 minutes before that three. In fact, in this game, I think he made a couple threes. He took 4. No, he only made 1. 9 points for Kendall Brown in this game. He was 3 for 8 from the field, 4 boards, 2 assists, 2 turnovers, 2 fouls. You just don't feel his impact that much, right? Like he has these drives. When he can cut or when he catches against an already tilted or, scrambling defense, good stuff happens. Like he just has this athleticism and pop even with the ball and just skates into the lane and can fling something up and in. Like those kind of moments have been what I've talked about way too much, honestly, with him in Summer League is that is the best and most practical instance for him of combining his athleticism and some on-ball skills, right? And that's what matters because these first 2 years, he's done some good stuff. He was definitely better this year than last year, especially in the G League. But a lot of it was he can defend really well and get back into plays and break stuff up because he's so athletic, right? But what does that translate to, right? Could he ever shoot well enough that that's a thing? Or, what does that athleticism mean besides just like I can break up plays on defense because I'm so athletic? Well, finally, there's been some instances of this in Summer League, but I would say overall this was a substandard game from him. Not enough of those moments, not enough of him pressuring the rim, still not making enough threes. To me, 1 for 4 in this game. Got to the line once, right? That was the standout thing about that first game is, and in the second half of game 3, when he's really pressuring the rim all the time and being functionally sound with his athletic tools, he draws fouls a lot, and he only drew 1 in this game for the 2 free throw attempts. So I would say not good enough Summer League for Brown so far, especially given what is potentially at stake for him. One more game, I'd imagine he'll play. I don't know that, but he's a third-year player, right? He's got to be really good in this last game. Maybe he'll still be in training camp. His contract's non-guaranteed till the season starts, but they needed him to be a little better in these summer sessions, and not quite enough, to me at least, from him in these games. Even though there's been some pop and like a new skill to me, it hasn't been enough or frequent enough. The last kind of hodgepodge of dudes I want to talk about in this first segment would be the non-roster or non-two-way guys. So Dakota Mathias and co, because we saw everybody in this game for the first time. Sam Froling, I can't even say his name. Lance Jones, the guy from Illinois who's a really long last name. Trey Woodbury, McNeese played. All of them played. But that meant Dakota Mathias played a lot less. I want to see more of him. He missed 2 shots in this game, but had a nice block. Like I think he's got a shot to be something. I mean, I'd like to see him, but of all the new guys, Trey Woodbury stood out the most to me. He actually guarded pretty well a little bit in limited minutes and did not get smoked in his opportunities on the floor. And Jeremiah James Jordan had quite a few. No, I had it right the first time. Jeremiah Jordan James, there we go, had a couple nice takes to the rim, but they were completely thwarted away from the basket. He had 3 points, but 4 fouls and was 1 for 5 from the field. But those two are probably the standouts of the non-roster guys. Let's get back to those, though, in segment 2 here. The two-way guys, the draftees, as we wrap up Summer League Game 4, an ugly one for the Pacers, then talking about Obi Toppin and James Wiseman. Before we get to any of that stuff, though, we absolutely have to talk about FanDuel. I love sports. I think most of you do too. Love them so much. Never want them to stop, especially in the summer. But as the playoffs wind down, they're done in the NBA. They're done in the NHL. We get fewer sports, especially right now. All-Star break for MLB and WNBA. The sports aren't sportsing like we want them to, but FanDuel lets you keep the sports going whenever you want. All you got to do, open the FanDuel app, dream up bets at any time you're in the mood. How about that? And this summer, FanDuel's hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus every single day. That's right. There's something for everybody every day, all summer long. Just head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most of your summer with a booster bonus daily. That's on FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. We are back here on Locked On Pacers. Thanks for making us your first listen today and every single day. Your second listen, Locked On Nuggets. Russell Westbrook is headed to Denver. It's going to happen. The transaction string has started. Locked On Nuggets will break down Russell Westbrook's fit there. Does that make sense? Why are they doing this? Will this actually make them better? A rare team that I actually think Westbrook does kind of make better, but in the exact right role. As soon as he overextends it, it's not good. Locked On Nuggets would know better than me. Check that out next. Okay, let's get to the other five guys I want to get to today. I don't have a lot of notes on Johnny Furphy in this game, which tells me that he was pretty quiet and never really popped into my eye frame. He was 2 for 4 on twos. That's fine. He was 1 for 8 on threes. That's not so good. 5 boards. Still love his hands. 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 turnovers, 4 fouls. On his way to 8 points on 12 shots. Very inefficient, like everybody in this game. Just struggling to get the 3 to go. Some of them out of rhythm, some of them late in the clock, but some of them even that he should have made or could have made. He did not. Held back his performance, held back the Pacers in general, who did not shoot very well. My only note about him, and something I want to see if we see him more of, if he even plays more in Summer League, is he had a really good play where Jarace Walker was on the right wing and Johnny Furphy flashed up into the teeth of the defense, and he caught it and he turned and faced. This was his best pass of Summer League. He flipped it under the basket to McNeese, and he got fouled on the catch. He didn't actually get to score. He went up and got fouled, but it was probably his best pass, I think, of the entire Summer League. And it was a really quick decision in the lane, a lot of traffic, a lot of bodies around him. I thought that decision-making showed some impressive stuff in the lane. Enrique Freeman, I don't take as many notes on him anymore because he just does the same good stuff every game, right? 3 for 4 at halftime, 5 for 8 in this game. One of a very few group of Pacers who shot above 50% in this game. In fact, it was just him and Oscar Tshiebwe. Freeman, just the energy's there. He makes smart plays. He finishes them. He's like Ben Shepherd, but a big, and that he doesn't make a lot of high mistakes plays. He did have a rough defensive sequence defending a dribble handoff where he got way over-indexed on the guy actually receiving the handoff, and it was a fake handoff, and his man just turned around and went right to the rim. Needs better awareness there. Can't guard those that poorly, but Enrique Freeman, certainly a standout of Summer League. Even on his quieter games, was one of the more efficient Pacers in general. Had a block, only 1 turnover. Really good player, 11 points, one of 3 guys to reach double digits for the Pacers. My most noted player in this game was a shock to me. It's Tristen Newton. Tristen Newton, his highest scoring game of Summer League, actually led the Pacers with 15. Yeah, it took him 15 shots to get there. A little misleading, though. We'll talk about his game in total here. So he's been rough at times this Summer League, especially as a play finisher. Like, I've really liked his passing, and I won't go into the reasons about like, oh, I love this type of player again, but I really have liked his passing throughout Summer League. Only 2 assists in this game. The passing was not as crisp today, and to be fair, even if it was, guys weren't making shots, so it wasn't there. But early in this game, again, the play finishing was rough to the point that I said, is he going to make a shot? I literally have a note about this in this game. And then guess what? He did. He hit a couple in a row. He hit a 3. He hit another shot just before halftime. He came out of the second half looking really strong. That was a huge sequence that got the Pacers from down like 20 to down, I think, as close as 4 or 5 in the third quarter. And he was actually hitting shots. He was springing free. He hit a 3. He got into the paint. He's finishing in there, right? He's had some ugly finishes all Summer League. He was not in this stretch. He looked really good. But what kept his game afloat was the foul line. 7 attempts. That was very impressive for him. The rest of the Pacers starters had 8 attempts combined from the foul line. So he was doing a good job making the Nuggets rotate, respect him, and foul him. More free throw attempts than the Pacers' entire bench combined as well. That was what made this a standout game for him in terms of everything. I mean, the highest scoring number he's had was that he found a way to actually consistently score, and that was getting to the foul line even when the shots weren't falling. Hitting 2 threes obviously helps, but 7 free throws for Tristen Newton in what became his best Summer League performance to date. That second half starting strong was huge. That 3 was huge. I want to see him put it all together in terms of like decent efficiency and the free throws and the passing. And we're running out of time in Summer League, but like he's had pockets of like, whoa, with all of those skills. but never at the same time and never in the same game, right? He's had not very good summer league, quite frankly. He's been inefficient and has been up and down with the passing. But at his height, you've seen the flashes. Obviously, his college career speaks for itself. This was his best scoring game, and the foul line had a lot to do with that, and that made him stand out a lot as he had the ball quite often. Oscar Tshiebwe, first possession of the game. Oscar Tshiebwe to Jarace for the dunk. The passing is a thing, not like a thing like, whoa, they could play through him. But, when we talked to Gennaro Pargo, the Pacers Summer League head coach, before Summer League, I asked him, what are you seeing in Oscar? Or maybe Dustin Dopieric asked him. I don't want to give myself any credit. Someone asked him, and I was right there, about what he's seen in Oscar in practices and getting better. And one skill he highlighted was that passing, and we've seen a lot of it with high-low games and inverse and all that. And he had another one right off the bat in this game. He had 3 offensive rebounds once again. He's just a machine, 5 boards in 13 minutes. Still certainly needs to defend in space better, needs more range. That's why every jumper he hits my note page and is noteworthy. But that pass was nice in general, and his offensive rebounding continues to be quite a weapon. He did take and hit another jumper in this game. So maybe Oscar Tshiebwe is just becoming a 10 feet and in guy offensively as he kind of expands. But in general, I think the Summer League's been the same as Oscar Tshiebwe's kind of whole career to this point. Really great rebounding, expanding some little bit with the jumper and the passing, but largely just a dominant rebounder working his way in to other parts of the game. Last guy, Quentin Jackson. Quentin Jackson missed another shot in this game, so my favorite stat is gone, although I'm going to keep catching it because I can. It was a shot clock buzzer beater this time. So since the first game, he's missed 2 shots, a shot clock buzzer beater and an end of quarter buzzer beater. Every other shot he's taken has gone in, and he was awful shooting in the first game. He had 3 assists this time and no turnovers. Like he's been so much better since that first game. Finding the right role for him was really important. He's not very point guard. He's not going to create for others. Highest plus minus on the Pacers, 5 points, 3 assists for Quentin Jackson. So that first game's going to the first impression matters a lot. Like his Summer League grade at best is going to be in like probably a C, depending on how his last game goes. But he's been much better since then at everything. Efficiency, drawing fouls. Like he got to the rim for 4 free throws in pretty quick succession in this game. It hasn't all been there because of that first game, but had some nice pockets of moments, in this game, but not enough of them, not consistent enough. And it was after he was moved to the bench for Tristen Newton. No one else really leapt off no one left off the page at this game at all, but no one else really hit the got to talk about that guy stretch for this game. And they kept talking about this on the broadcast. The Pacers just looked so worn down. Like their style this whole Summer League has been get to the rim and then play from there, whether that's a finish, whether that's a pass, whatever. And at a high speed, that works, right? It's hard. It takes a lot of conditioning, but it works. That's why they were in overtime in the first game and, tied with the Wolves with 3 minutes to go and then won the third game. Like they gave themselves a chance every game because of this. The closest they got in the second half of this game was, I believe, 6. It might've been 5 for like a brief second, but they don't really do the game chart thing. Yeah. It looks like it was, I'm not going to be able to do this. It's not worth it. I believe it was 6 at like 68-74 or something like that. 65-71. That was the closest it got in the second half. So this one was not as close as either of the previous 3 games. And the Pacers just looked really worn down, tired. They weren't able to create the shots they were normally taking. And I'm not saying this is an excuse. This is a bad thing that they're worn down. But playing every other day, you're out in Vegas, such is life. I would wonder what the rotation will look like in the last game if everybody still plays. Obviously, there's value in playing most of these guys. We'll see who does and does not play. On Saturday, we now know that. I don't know if I've said that on the show yet. Pacers Cavs Saturday at 5 to close out Summer League. Lots of Pacers ball this weekend, by the way. If you're listening to this on Friday, you've got Nemhard in Canada versus France Friday. On Saturday, you've got Haliburton and USA versus South Sudan in London. And the Canada game is in Paris. And the WNBA All-Star game and the Pacers Finals Summer League game. And then Sunday, you got Canada versus Puerto Rico. So 5 games, if you include Caitlin Clark, of Indiana basketball fun this weekend. And then it's the Olympics after that. So get in your watchings while you can. And we'll talk about a lot of that stuff here on Locked On Pacers. And speaking of here on Locked On Pacers, Indiana basketball, let's talk about 2 free agents who I haven't talked about these conversations yet. About a week ago, I spoke with James Wiseman, his first time chatting with us since joining the Pacers, and Obi Toppin about their free agency, their decision to rejoin the Pacers. Why did they pick the Pacers? Different reasons for both guys. Sort of expected, sort of revealing in Wiseman's case. We'll break that all down to close out today's show. And we're back here on Locked On Pacers. Thanks for making us your first listen today and every single day. Make Locked On Clippers listen number 2. Chris Dunn on that Clippers team. The Clippers roster can guard and dribble and can't really shoot. What's that all going to look like? Is James Harden have to do all the playmaking while their roster's done? Darren Vaziri, Locked On Clippers, for your second listen. Figure it all out. Big transaction, even though it's a minor player salaries to get it done. I think the final Summer League games are going to look like this one. So we're going to sneak in third segments of other important Pacers information. Talk to James Wiseman and Obi Toppin, like I said. And I really just wanted to get to the bottom of their free agency process. What made them land on the Pacers? Toppin was restricted. Wiseman could have gone wherever he wanted. What made this happen? Obviously, Wiseman's even more interesting to you guys listening because he was not on the team last year. Why did he pick the Pacers? And some of the guesses, the predictions, the discussions of like, oh, probably because of this or that, were exactly right. And that is development, right? Where he could become better, right? If you're a player from afar and you haven't been with the Pacers, but you've seen guys your age, guys in your draft class, just young guys without chances, come to Indiana and get way better. Haliburton got way better, but he also got the other guys way better. Nesmith's a lot better. Jalen Smith's a lot better. Obi Toppin's a lot better. Jordan Wara got a little better. Isaiah Jackson's gotten better. Probably missing guys. I mean, Adrian Emhart wasn't somewhere else, but he's gotten better. I'm sure, again, guys who come here have played better than at their past stop, right? And so if you're a young guy like James Wiseman who really needs to like cling to life in his NBA career, finding a way to develop and get better matters a ton to prolong his career. Money matters, but the way he can make the most money is by being a better player. And so that development stood out. And so when I said, why, what made you think about and consider and then sign with a partially guaranteed, he could get cut tomorrow and makes $500,000. That's it, right? That's a two-way. And he is eligible for maybe not, whatever. He said, when I asked him, why'd you jump at a chance on the Pacers? He said, really somewhere I could develop, just trying to be the best version of myself. Indiana is a great spot for that. And he, it's just been kind of a flat career for him since Golden State. He said, I just want to develop. I just want to learn. I don't have, this is very key. This was the only thing I didn't know if he would say or didn't expect. He said, I don't have any expectations or anything. This is already a winning team. So just coming in, just learning, just trying to see what I can do and have an impact. That is important that he knows he will almost certainly be the third center. In fact, definitely is going to be the third center behind Isaiah Jackson and Myles Turner, and he'll play. Right centers get hurt. Pacers played 3 centers often last year. They played their 4th center. Daniel Tice got in the game, right? Obi Toppin played 5. Wiseman's going to play, and they're going to need him to produce because they're a team trying to win. But developing and not having expectations of minutes is important, and I think that this is a good spot for him for both of those things, right? To learn from Turner, to get better in the same kind of way as Jalen Smith did and Isaiah Jackson kind of has, without playing and swallowing that pride of expectations is tough. But that was the key thing. Because I can see him saying, yeah, I want to develop. Okay, a lot of guys do. But the difference is when these other guys that I've talked about and brought up developed, right? Toppin, Nesmith, Haliburton, all the 22 draft guys, or excuse me, all the 2020 draft guys, they played because the Pacers were not a winning environment yet. Now they are. So it's a little different. That's the difference between all these players, Jalen Smith, their development in Indiana and Wiseman's. But assuming a lot of the same principles can be applied to him, that's a big deal. Like he said when he was looking at the team, I said, what have you seen from the development here? He said, just seeing different stories. Tyrese Haliburton has been killing it. Obi Toppin came in and killed it, just trying to come in and be a better version of myself. Ben Shepherd told me also he's a big fan of James Wiseman, watching him in the league. So, and James Wiseman, of course, went to Memphis. Ben Shepherd spent time at Belmont, some overlap in Tennessee. They've already meshed pretty well. Ben Shepherd called him funny, and Ben Shepherd has a high bar for calling guys funny. And when I asked the other thing to James Wiseman, right, the development part we all get, and he nailed it. He said, what when you do play, you're going to have to produce. Like, what do you think you'll help this team? How can you help this team? He said, rim protection, rebounding, running the floor. He's got a long way to go on the rim protection, but he is a good rebounder, and he is fast for his size. And he said, just keeping it simple, doing what got me here. So he wants to grow. He wants to learn. That's his whole mindset. That's the right answers to most of those questions. I think he's going to have to get better as a rim protector. I think you have to expand his range a little bit. But if that's what he was looking for in free agency, Pacers a very good spot for that. I've been critical is the wrong word, but just like downer on this signing compared to most people, because I think the Pacers are in a mode where like a veteran contributor at center makes sense. But if they believe Wiseman can contribute, or if they believe they can develop him into that pretty quickly, then it makes a lot of sense. So this is a signing that will be totally graded by like the end of November, maybe even later into the season. But as we see what he can contribute on the floor for the Pacers, good answers from him, though. Looking forward to seeing what he can do. He sat between, ironically, Isaiah Jackson and Mike Weiner, assistant coach for the Pacers' first summer league game. Obi Toppin, also in Vegas for a little bit. I saw him the first day, and then the second day I ran into him literally at a Knicks game because his brother Jacob was playing. He went nuts when Jacob finished an alley-oop. So Obi was a restricted free agent. I said I would have re-signed Obi all summer. They did. I was pretty close on my guess for the average annual value on the contract. Why did he want to return to Indiana? I first said is returning the feeling you had early in free agency. The whole time he said 1,000%. He said he was talking to coaches, telling them, I can't go anywhere. I've got to stay. So having the opportunity to be here is amazing. Okay, that makes sense. He liked it here. He played well here. The Pacers made him better. He was a key contributor in the postseason. He actually played a lot. Why, though? Why did he want to stay? Why did he not want to leave or pursue any other opportunity elsewhere? He said, Indiana is amazing. Me going there, the experience that I had was amazing. I felt like the energy that I brought, everybody liked, the team liked. And then he said, they wanted me to come back, and I wanted to come back too. So I was super happy that we came to an agreement, right? I think this was the obvious match, and that is that the Pacers liked him. We heard that from Chad Buchanan. We saw that on the court. We saw these guys get along. He played well, not only in the way that they talked about him playing well last year when they got him, but in ways that were unexpected and that I've talked about a lot. The shooting really allowed him to fit with everybody and not just Tyrese Haliburton. And he, of course, fit very well from a personality perspective. And so for all the reasons you'd want to keep a player as a franchise, makes sense. And he's a restricted free agent. If he even wanted to go somewhere else, he probably couldn't. And he did like it. So, of course, he's going to resign. He said, I just felt like that the year we had was amazing. Everybody was so bonded. Tyrese, Myles, Pascal did a great job keeping the team together. Everybody was just so glued together, doing good things. We had to keep the team what it was. For me to come back, for Pascal to come back, everybody else is going to come back. It's going to be amazing. That one made me laugh. Everybody else is going to come back. Well, no, Jalen Smith is not, and Doug McDermott almost certainly not. James Johnson, we'll see. He was actually courtside at this game that I talked to Obi Toppin and James Wiseman at. He is a free agent. I have no idea if he wants to play anymore or not. I have no idea if the Pacers want to have him back or not. I would say him sitting with the team certainly shows you how they feel about him and how he feels about them, but it is about committing and a full season. So we will see there. But Toppin said that they're going to have a target on their back next year, and they want to take advantage of that. But he's happy to be back, and the front office is happy to have him back, and his teammates are happy to have him back. And we will see if anything else or anybody else is back for the Pacers. My guess, just because I'm talking free agency to throw this in, is we will not see, no one will see any roster moves until Summer League is over. And they can kind of assess, okay, who's our two-way priorities, who's our roster spot priorities, what resources can we actually use, and then they'll figure all of that stuff out. All right, thank you guys for tuning in today as we tackle Summer League and topics learned at Summer League Monday. We will talk about the final Pacers Summer League game. We'll maybe dabble a little bit with Nembhard and Haliburton's final tune-ups ahead of the Olympics, any other topic to squeeze in. And then next week, we'll wrap up Summer League big picture with how does it affect the roster. I'll talk with someone else about Summer League. We'll look at extensions. And then we get into late July, early August. And if you've listened to the show for a long time, you know that that's when the focuses change to much more off-season-y stuff. We'll talk more about that when we get there, but so much more to get to still before that. The offseason still chugging along here on Locked On Pacers. Thank you guys for listening today. I'm on Twitter at Tony R. East, and the show is there at Locked On Pacers. If you'd like to discuss anything with me, that's the best place to do it, as is commenting if you're watching down below on YouTube. Back on Monday, talking more Pacers and Summer League. Till then, everybody have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you then.